Good morning. A few of us brave souls here today. I'm going to put that there in case I want to use it. We do have a minute, so keep visiting. For those of you who are online, if anybody's out there on this very rainy day, Helen wants to know if Sherry's out there. Sherry, are you there? It is October 26th, Monday morning, gentle yoga. I forgot to type it in too, so just get comfortable if you're at home. And if anybody's out there and can tell me you can hear me, that would be great. If not, we'll just keep on going and hope that it doesn't get icy before we leave here. I don't think it will. So sit however's comfortable. If you want to sit up on a blanket or two blankets, if you're at home, get everything handy so that maybe you have it there if you need it. And if you're in a chair, get your feet to where they're hips distance apart and parallel. And just close your eyes and let yourself easily start to accept your breaths in and out through your nose. So if you can, just letting the breath come in and out. Don't force it. Just accept your breaths. See if you can feel the breath start to come into the belly. Feeling the belly rise and expand as you breathe in. And if you're comfortable to come into those three-part breaths, inhaling into the belly, into the ribs, all the way up into your chest. And letting your hands now come on out beside you. So if you're on the floor, fingertips can lightly touch the floor. Feel like a breath of air between your torso and your arms there. And then as you inhale, let your arms rise all the way out and up overhead. And exhale, bring your hands right down together to rest in front of your heart. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open our arms on back out and down beside us. And now inhale your arms out into a T position. Let your palms face down. And then bring the arms forward and turn your palms to face each other. So the hands are directly forward of your shoulders. And then let's turn our thumbs down and let our pinkies face up. Bring the backs of your hands together here. And then let the thumbs come down. We're going to circle the hands, keeping them connected at the wrists here. So let yourself just start to circle the hands. And keep connected as you come to the back of the hands. You come to palms face each other. Don't force it. Let it be real easy. Just feel like you're easily moving through the wrists here. And we're going to stop and reverse those circles. So let yourself just come the other direction now. Again, just keeping the hands together. Let yourself feel your wrists here. Feel your fingers. Let that connection be very easy and gentle. And then let yourself finish off and bring your hands just to come right into prayer hands right in front of your chest here. And then we'll stretch the arms on back out beside us here. Palms facing down, that T position again. And let's bring our left arm on top of our right. Give yourself a hug. You can hold down lower towards your armpits or up over your shoulders if you want. And then bring your chin on down towards your chest. Let yourself release your head forward. Breathing. Let the chin turn a little side to side so you move the head a little bit. Maybe find different places to release there. And then come on back, chin towards the chest. Rise your gaze on forward. Now, release your shoulders from your hands here, your hands from your shoulders, and come in towards either half eagle or eagle wrap. You can slide the back of your right hand to the outside of your left elbow, or you can come into backs of the hands towards each other, coming into that full wrap if you want, with the right fingers into the left palm. Just release, open up there between the shoulder blades on your back. And then let the elbows come down, unwind the arms, stretch the arms back out into the T position with the fingertips reaching equally away from the midline. And we'll bring the right arm on top of the left here, again, giving that hug, chin coming down. Let yourself move your head around a little bit. You can if you want to think about your ear coming towards your shoulder, if that feels good, or just letting the chin, sending the backs of your hands towards each other, maybe even the left fingers into the right palm. And then just release here into your breath, wherever you are. Good. And then we'll unwind. We're going to stretch the arms out again into that T position, reaching out through the fingertips. And then turn your palms up. Rise the arms up overhead. And then let your right hand encircle your left wrist and pull up a little bit there so that you're just finding a little more side stretch through the left side, and come over a tiny bit into a side stretch. So keep pulling up with your hand, right hand pulling up on that left wrist. And then we'll come back to the top, and we're going to switch. Left hand holds the right wrist. Pull up a little bit. Keep that upward motion going as you come just a little bit over to the side, just so you feel that right sit bone drawing down. Good. And then we'll come on back up to the top. Lower our arms on down. Let your hands come behind you. Interlace your fingers. And then make your way forward with a nice long back. It might be an inch. It may be that you want to let yourself go a little bit more forward. Just enjoy coming into your breath. And then we'll rise on back up. And if you are cross-legged on the floor, switch the cross of your legs. Bring your other leg in front here. If you're stretched long, that's fine. We're going to come forward again, this time with our hands giving us a little support. So if you're in your chair, separate your feet. Bring your hands down as far as you want towards the ground, or put your elbows above your knees and give you support if you want, if you're in your chair. On the floor, you can go as far forward as feels good. Nice full breaths. And then we'll make our way on back up, releasing our hands on out beside us. Inhaling here at center. And on the exhale, twisting to our left, bringing your right hand around towards that left knee, lengthening up through the crown of your head. One more inhale. And on the exhale, come back through center. We're going to go all the way into the other direction with those twists, waking up the spine here, lengthening up through the top of your head. One more inhale. And let your exhale bring you on back around into center. Now let's do a little seated cat-cow here. So inhaling here. And then when you exhale, draw your navel towards your spine, rounding into your spine here. And then when you inhale, send your sits bones down, roll back up into a nice long back. So as you exhale, draw the navel towards the spine. Feel your tailbone curl forward, rounding into even between the shoulder blades on your back. And then as you inhale, roll yourself on back up. One more time. Exhaling, drawing the navel towards the spine, letting yourself round into that back. And let your inhale bring you all the way on back up. And let's release our hands on out. Stretch your legs out if they're not already, okay? And if you're in your chair, you can stretch your legs out too. And move through your feet a little bit and your ankles, circling whether you like to go the same way with your feet or opposite direction. Moving through, reversing the circles. Then shake out a little bit. We're going to come on around towards our hands and knees from here. So, you know, if you need a blanket underneath your knees, get one. like that somebody is out there watching, so I'm hoping that the sound is okay, that everybody can hear. So take your time once you are on your either hands and knees or hands up in the seat of the chair, or even being down on forearms. If you want to get out of your wrists big time, you can be on your forearms on blocks or on a chair or on the floor. So let yourself start to move through your cat-cow here, all right? So as you exhale, drawing the tailbone up under you as you draw the navel towards the spine, and then as you inhale, moving on back through, tailbone reaches back and up. You can come to neutral spine or to your cat-cow pose here. So take your time. Let it feel really good. Feeling that suppleness of the spine, that ease of motion. Let it feel very natural if you can. And we'll finish off the one we're on, and then come on back to neutral spine. And let's send our right foot back behind us, curl the toes under, press into the heel here. Let yourself enjoy feeling that release there for the back of the leg. And then we're going to switch and go to the other side. So you know your hands can be up on a chair seat here. They can be up on any support that you need. Good. And then come on back. Let's step our left foot forward and come on into our first lunge. So again, if you want to be higher, use that seat of the chair. You can use the blocks. So take your time. You can have your hands down lower or higher if you need. So find that great sense of opening up through the back of that right leg. Draw your shoulders down. Let yourself engage your belly just a little bit. Good, and we're going to switch and go to the other side. Does not matter what you need to do to switch sides. You can step back, you can step forward. Enjoy finding that openness now in the back of that left leg. Remember, it doesn't matter how long of a stance you take. Just make sure that front knee is bent no farther forward than your ankle. Good, we're going to switch again. So bringing that left foot forward, right foot back. You know, some of you I know like a little bit more. If you want to put your left hand or your left forearm up above your knee there on your thigh, you can. Or you can keep your hands down. And we're going to switch again. And again, once you get situated there, if it feels good to let your right hand or forearm come on up to your thigh, do. Find length in the back body here. Engage your belly. Good. We're going to step forward from here, coming on into standing forward bend. So take your time. You can use whatever support you want. You know that. You can stack blocks up in the seat of your chair if you want to be higher. You can put your elbows above your knees if that feels better. Or you can let yourself release your hands down to blocks or towards the floor and come into your breath here. So really following your breath here all the way in and out. Enjoying that expansion of the ribs as you inhale. Feeling the weight of your head, letting go of your face and your jaw. And now let's bring our hands on back up to our hips and bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise up to standing. We'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And walk a little bit in place to get yourself into mountain pose. So take your time. Look at your feet if you need to. Get yourself really set. About a fist or a fist and a half distance between the feet for hips distance apart for most of us. You can always have your feet closer together or farther apart. Let your gaze come on forward. Look out as though you're looking out towards the horizon. Feel that length in the back of your throat. So you want to make sure you're not letting your chin rise up or even sink down, right? Find that sense of space in the back of the throat. And then we'll unfold our arms right down beside us. And inhale both arms out and up overhead in a wide V. Mountain with arms overhead. Turn your pinkies towards each other. Feel your shoulders releasing down away from your ears. One more inhale. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come on forward back into that standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. Hands can be on your chair seat to flatten your back out, your shins, or your blocks, or the floor. And we'll step our right foot back here now and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So whether your hands are on the blocks or the chair or the floor, reach back now into that length of the spine. Bend your knees a little bit here. Let yourself really find that flat back here in your dog. Elbows hug towards each other. And then you can come to straighter legs if it feels good, but it's fine to keep your knees bent in dog. Let your next inhale bring you towards a plank. Doesn't matter if you go all the way. You want to make sure that you're getting what you need for your wrists. So if you need to come onto fists or you need to come onto your forearms, do it. If you like bending your elbows a little bit, coming in towards a push-up, you can. And then we'll make our way back again into down dog. And let's bring our right foot forward to find lunge. If you need to put your left knee down to get that right foot forward or both knees down, you can. And then we'll step back into standing forward bend again. Nice, full, deep breaths now. Really let yourself receive your breaths in and out. Feeling the inhales and the exhales. Just gradually feel like they're coming to be more the same length. And then we'll bring our hands back up to our hips, bend our knees, rising up to standing. Inhaling the arms out and up. And on the exhale, letting your hands come down together in front of your heart. Let's reverse the arms. Inhale the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms like wings as you fold forward, bringing yourself into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice flat back again. And this time, left foot steps back to come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose again, reaching back. Now, take your time, walk a little bit in your dog. Bend one knee at a time. Find a little bit more release there through the back of one leg and then the other. Come on back to full dog. And again, on your next inhale, come on out to plank. So again, when you come out to plank, whether you're using blocks or a chair or the floor, if your wrists bother you, you can let yourself go back to your forearms. Let yourself come into half plank if you need. Put your knees down. And then we'll make our way back again into down dog. Feel those elbows softly hugging inward so you feel really easy in your shoulders. And we'll bring our left foot forward to come into lunge here, however you need to get there. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Full breaths. Now, if you're okay to let your hands release to hold your elbows, go right ahead. If it's too much, put support under your forearms or your hands. And see if you can be with those breaths again. And then we'll bring our hands back up to our hips. Bend our knees, rising on up. We'll inhale the arms out and up. And on the exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms beside us and inhale those arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bending our knees, we'll come forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back. Remember, you can put your hands, again, on your shins, on the blocks, on the chair. And this time we'll just walk into down dog. So take your time, walk on back. Find your down dog now, whatever height you want your hands to be. And on the next inhale, come on out to plank. Now, back bends are totally optional. You can stay in plank, do a push-up. You can move down to the floor, come up into a sphinx or a cobra, or come through for an up dog. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. So take your time, walk a little bit again. If it feels good for you, or to bend your knees at the same time, do it. And we'll do the same thing. Next inhale brings us out to that plank. And if you choose to do a back bend, your choice, whether you want to come to the floor, come to a sphinx on your forearms, maybe move through for an up dog, and then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. And we'll bring the left foot forward to come into lunge from here. And then coming on back into standing forward bend. And again, right to your breaths. Full deep breaths, in and out. See if you can feel soft all around your eyes and your mouth. So you're releasing. Try not to tense up your jaw. If it helps you to kind of move your mouth around a little bit to let go of your jaw. And we'll let our hands now come on back up to our hips. Bend our knees, rising on up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Lift your elbows up a little bit. Let yourself feel the hands come a little more firmly together there. And then on your next exhale, just let the elbows melt down. Let yourself find your mountain pose here. So feel like your feet are just gently pressing down into the floor. You don't want to lock your knees. A little give in your knees. Feel your tailbone dropping down towards between your heels. And then just let the body naturally stack itself up. It really wants to. Hips want to come over the ankles, shoulders over the hips. And we'll unfold our arms now. On down, shake out a little bit, swing your arms around if you need to. Move through your hands too. If you're using a chair, you might want to turn it around. Otherwise, get your blocks handy and have them by the front of your mat. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into warrior two. So lining up your heels, really getting yourself adjusted there in that alignment of that front knee, left foot parallel to the long edge of your mat. Now, just for fun, see, keep your hands down for a second. Just let them be released and see if you can lift all your toes up. So on the back foot as well as on the front foot, which is a little bit harder usually in the back, right? Feel the four corners of the feet into the ground, the arches lifting up. Let the toes release on back down to the mat. And then from here, we'll just float those arms on up and out. Turn your palms up and let your elbows melt down for a second. So feel this you can even kind of shrug your shoulders a little bit if it helps you. Feel that release here now at the tops of the shoulders. And then we'll slowly turn the palms down, reach out through the fingertips here now. Feel the feet equal in the mat. Press the feet gently away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. And then from here, let's put our right hand on our right hip. We're going to straighten our left leg out and bring our left hand down for triangle. So it might come down onto your thigh. You may slide the hand down if you choose, down towards your shin. You may want to use the chair, right? Put the hand on the back of the chair or the seat of the chair or a block or two blocks. So if you're using blocks, they can be to the front of or the back of that left leg. If you choose to add your right arm straight up, you can add your arm on up, coming into your triangle pose here. Take your time. Feel that sense again of the feet pressing gently away from each other. If it sounds like a good idea to turn to look up towards the ceiling, do it. If it bothers your neck, don't. Otherwise, looking down, too, towards the floor can release your neck. We're going to bend that left knee. We're going to come back to Warrior Two. So you really press the feet away from each other. Gets you right back up into that core strength in your Warrior Two. And we'll bring our hands down, and we're going to find lunge here now, releasing the right heel so that we have the heel directly behind our foot. And we're going to add a twist, left hand to the left hip, and drawing that left shoulder up. So keeping yourself very level here in your hips. Try not to drop into that right long leg. Try to keep pretty level. And you can add that top arm up if you choose, or you can keep your hand down. Just enjoy finding length all the way out through the top of the head, all the way back through that inner right heel. And then we'll bring the hand on back down, coming into lunge, and let's step forward and get our feet right underneath us. Couple of breaths, full deep breaths. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips, bend our knees, and we're going to rise on up. And inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Take a couple breaths here in mountain pose. Let yourself again kind of stabilize. Feel the feet equal on the floor. Let yourself stack up. And then we'll go ahead and unfold our arms on down. Shake out again. And we're going to go the other side. So again, as you step your right foot forward and your left foot back, if you need that chair, you can hold on to it. Give yourself a little balance support there. Line up your heels. Take a peek at that right knee. Make sure you're not letting the knee come inward. And then try to lift all your toes up, right? Sometimes you even have to look at them to see if they're doing it, right? But lifting the toes up, feeling the four corners of the feet into the mat. Think about your arches lifting up here. And then let the toes release on back down. Start to slowly rise the arms on up and out. Turn your palms up for a second. Let your elbows melt down. You just can look right there at your right fingertips. Let yourself release the tops of your shoulders. And then we'll turn the palms down, reaching out now through the fingertips, pressing the feet gently away from each other. Just make sure you're not tucking your tailbone up under you. Feel your tailbone kind of reaching down towards the mat. Good. We're going to bring our left hand to our left hip, straighten our right knee out, and bring our right hand down for triangle. Again, you can use a block. It can be 2 blocks stacked up. You can have the block in front of or behind your leg. You can use a chair. If you're at home, you have a coffee table right there. You can put your hand on that. And if you decide to add that top arm up, bringing it straight up from your shoulder, palm facing forward of you, really. Let yourself enjoy turning to look up if you can. Or maybe your neck bothers you and you prefer to turn to look down. Or you can look directly forward. One more breath. We're going to bend the right knee. Keep the feet pressing away from each other to get right back into your Warrior Two. And now we're going to let our hands come down so we can find lunge. So turning to get that left heel reaching directly behind you, whatever length you want to be. And bringing your right hand to your right hip, turning into that twist. And again, trying to stay fairly level. If adding that top arm straight up feels good, you can bring it on up. Or feel free to keep your hand down on your low back, on your hip. And then we'll come on back down. And we're going to step forward into standing forward bend again. Easy breaths. Let your knees soften. Really feel the weight of your torso. Let yourself feel the weight of your head. Whether you use support or you want to let your hands come to your elbows. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands back up to our hips. Bend our knees, press into our feet, rising on up. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let your chin come down towards your chest. Bow your head here. Let yourself release through the back of the neck. Feel your feet. You can even look and make sure your feet are fairly equal there, fairly equal as far as being about parallel to each other. And then bring your gaze on forward. Feel your connection through your hands. Enjoy finding that mountain pose here now. That quiet strength of simply standing. Good. And then we'll release our arms on down beside us. Shake out a little bit. Move around if you need to. And we're going to come into Warrior One this time. So stepping the right foot back and letting yourself, the length of your stance in Warrior One as you turn your shoulders to square to the front of your mat. That's up to you. You're grounded in that back foot. Foot is on the ground, turned out 20 to 30 degrees. See if you can just bring your hands behind you. Turn your palms out away from your back. You're letting your elbows bend, right? And then look at that left foot on the floor and let yourself just start to straighten the leg out a little bit and then bend the knee. And just a few times. So you're letting yourself keep looking down. Make sure the knee is headed towards the center of the foot. You're not coming inward and you're not going out beyond your toes with that knee bending, right? So you want to still keep seeing your toes. So you can always lengthen the stance if you feel like, well, I want to bend deeper. I want to get a little bit longer stance. You can kind of get a little bit longer. Inch your foot a little forward. Finish off with the knee bent. Start to bring your gaze forward now. Feel your shoulders squared over your hips. Release your arms down beside you. And now inhale your right arm out and up overhead. Just the arm coming out and up. And on the exhale, we're going to lower the arm back down. And we're going to do the same thing with the left arm. Inhaling out and up. Keep your focus on something there in front of you. Exhale, lowering it down. And let's do both. Inhale both arms all the way out and up. On the exhale, we'll lower the arms down. And then inhaling last time, arms up overhead. Now, if you can clasp your hands together and send your pointer finger up, do it. Elbows can hug in. You can keep your arms forward if you need. Let your gaze maybe come up a little bit. You may even want to keep your elbows bent and feel the elbows rise up. It's up to you. It all depends on your shoulders. But feel that sense of the armpits kind of hollowing out a little bit as you feel those elbows hugging inward. One more breath here. And then bring your hands right down through the midline to come right in front of your chest, in front of your heart. Bringing your gaze forward here. And then we'll unfold our arms. We're going to turn our feet, and we're going to let ourselves get our feet fairly parallel here. Wider than your shoulders. Bring your arms straight out from your shoulders. Palms are going to face down. 5-pointed star there. Let your hands rise a little higher than your shoulders, but feel the shoulders melt down. And then we'll bring our hands onto our thighs. Bend your knees. Come on forward. And see if you can start to rest your elbows above your knees. Let the tips of your fingers and the tips of your thumbs touch. You're making like a little tent with your hands there. Finding this squat here, reaching back through your tailbone, reaching forward and out through the top of your head. And now from here, with your right hand, reach towards your left foot. Keep your left elbow there to give you a little support. You don't have to go all the way to the foot. Go where you can. And then bring that right elbow back to above your knee and let your left hand reach across towards your right foot. And then we'll come on back into center again. And now if you need to grab a block or two to put under your hands, do, or you can have your hands on the floor. And go ahead now and start to bend a knee at a time. And doing that might enable you to change a little bit with how far apart your feet are. Sometimes it makes you want to go wider. Sometimes it makes you want to go less wide. Or you may just keep the same. And then once you get back to center, Whether you keep your knees straight or bent or not is up to you. And now adjust yourself where you can be with your breath. If you can go ahead and hang, let yourself bring your hands back towards between your feet and let your body hang, top of the head towards the ground. Do. That is so not for everybody's back. So keep your long back if you need. Hands on the blocks or elbows above your knees or forearms on the block. And then just breathe. All you need to do, let the pose just be there. All you do is just follow your breath all the way in and out. And one more breath here. And now when you're ready to come up, you can make your way up however you need. Feet can come together more if you need to before you rise on up to standing, or you can keep your stance the way it was. Walk around a little bit. You may want to move through your feet now, through your ankles a little bit. Shake everything out. And we're going to go the other side. So this time, right foot steps forward, left foot steps back. Warrior one, remember. So the shoulders come around, square towards the front of your mat. Bring your hands behind you for a second. Just go ahead and turn the palms out. Let the elbows bend. Let the hands rest wherever feels good for your shoulders, right? So they can be kind of up above the buttocks. They can be down. Just let it feel good. Let yourself feel open across your chest. And then look down at your right foot and your right knee and start to come into straightening that leg out and then bending it. So you come into a little bit of movement there. Quite telling, that little tiny movement, right? And if you decide you want to lengthen your stance, do it. Just make sure that knee is not going out beyond your toes. Trying to keep that knee lined up. Finish off with the knee bent. And then bring your gaze back forward. Release your arms down beside you. And we'll inhale the right arm all the way out and up overhead. And exhale, letting it come on back down beside us. And now inhaling the left arm all the way out and up. Keep your focus on this place you can keep looking at now. And exhale, bringing the arms down. And now we'll do both arms. Inhaling the arms out and up. You can touch fingertips together if you want. Exhale, we're going to bring them back down again. And this time, inhaling both arms out and up. If you can clasp your hands, send your pointer finger out. Elbows can hug in. Maybe bringing your gaze up, feeling that lift at the base of the shoulder blades. So you shouldn't feel it in your low back. Belly is lifted. There's a lengthening of the top buttock muscles down towards your heel there. Let yourself just enjoy inhaling up the front of the body. Exhaling down the back of your body. One more breath. And then release your arms on down. And again, we're going to turn sideways on the mat. Get your feet out again a little wider or maybe a lot wider than your shoulders. Bring your arms straight out. Actually, once you get your arms out, circle your hands around a little bit. Let your hands circle one way and then the other. And then reach into that five-pointed star. Reach out through the fingertips. Now, make sure you're not tucking your tailbone forward, which affects the whole spine, right? Tailbone is reaching down like if your feet were close together, it'd be heading between your heels, maybe a little behind your heels even. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to ease our way forward. Bend your knees again. Put your elbows there above your knees if you can. Let yourself find that long back, that flat back here. And just take a couple of breaths. And then go ahead and release your hands down, whether you want to go to the floor or the blocks. And this time we'll walk over towards our right foot with both hands coming towards the right. And you can go all the way to the foot, holding the outside of the ankle if you want to. That's up to you. And then we're going to come back and walk over the other way. So again, you may just shift your block a little to the left or your hands a little to the left, or you may want to go all the way to hold on to the outside of your ankle or your foot. So be where you can. Let yourself then go right to your breath. Good. And then we'll come on back into center. Take your time. If you need to do some bending and straightening with the legs there, do it, or adjusting your stance. And then just again, release to where you can be. Those blocks can be helpful for forearms to rest on block or blocks, or head. Sometimes it feels good to put your head on a block. Let yourself release. And then follow those breaths again. In and out. One more nice, deep, full breath. And now when you're ready to come out of it, take your time. Walk your hands on back out. Make your way on back up to standing, however feels best for you. And then bring your feet on together. Move around a little bit. Move through your feet and your ankles a bit. And we're going to come into a wall. We're going to bring our mats all the way into a wall here at the studio. If you're home, if you decide to use a wall, fine. If you don't have one, it's fine too. We just need a little bit of a wall here. So take hold of some support for your hands. Blocks would be great. If you're at home, you can actually turn your chair around and use your chair. And we're going to turn our backs to the wall, bring our hands to our support, and put our right foot back on the wall with the toes facing down towards the ground into a warrior three. Now, be mindful here. You don't want your foot way up high. You need to be able to look back and see your foot with the toes facing down. Your hips are square and level. So if you look back and you feel like, oh my goodness gracious, I don't see my foot, it might be a little too high. It can be lower if you need to. Bend both your knees if you need. Take your time here. And then get your support and under your hands just where you feel comfortable to be, right? Start to press into that foot on the wall. Imagine you're drawing it up towards the ceiling. See if you can come to your fists on what you have your hands supported on. And then keep pressing into that foot back there on the wall. See if you can put your left hand up to your chest. Take your time there. And then see if you can bring that left hand up to your hip. And if you want to add a little bit of a twist, you can turn to look to your left and let yourself. This is really hard to do unless you have a foot on a wall. So don't try unless you feel very stable. And then we'll come on back down with our hands. We're going to switch legs right away. Put your right foot down, put your left foot up, look at the foot. Again, if you don't have a wall, just practice on your balance. You don't have to add this other part here, right? You can just practice on the strengthening here and the balance. So press into that foot if you have it on the wall. Imagine you're drawing it towards the ceiling. It gives you just the oomph you need to lift to your fists so that you have a little less now into the hands. So maybe your right hand can just float up to your chest easy. Nice and strong. And then put the hand down for a second, readjust, and see if you want to put the hand up, right hand to your hip. That's optional. Rolling that right shoulder up is even more optional, pressing into that foot back there. So don't force it. Good. One more breath. Come on down. Bring your feet down. Now, you can bring your feet really wide and squat with your elbows above your knees, or you can go all the way down if you feel like it feels really good to you to release your hips down. Now, your heels can be off the floor in a squat, or you can think about wanting to bring your heels down if that gives you more of a release in your hips and your back, right? So just be mindful. Let it feel good. Nice. And then we're going to slowly rise on back up. Bring your feet on together there. Bend your knees, rise up to standing. Let's inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, lower your left arm down. Reach up through the right side and just stretch over into a side stretch there. Let it feel good. Feel the weight of your left arm hanging. And then we'll inhale the left arm up, and we're going to lower the right arm down. Let the right arm hang. Breathe into the left ribs. Good. And then we'll come on up, lower both arms down, swing them around a little bit. And we're going to turn around and face the wall and get really close to the wall so that you get your belly into the wall. And then from here, forehead on the wall at first, let yourself bring your hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. Let yourself feel that openness across your chest. And then start to release your head away from the wall, right? Feel the lift of the belly. Think about your tailbone dropping down towards between your heels. So you shouldn't feel compression in your low back. If it helps you to put your hands up on your low back, you can. To where you're encouraging this downward motion, the top buttock muscles reaching down. Standing camel pose. So, be mindful. If it bothers your back, bring your head back to the wall and release a little bit. If you feel like you want to reach your arms up into a wide V and let yourself come back from there, you can, with the hands off the wall and the chest off the wall. So really, don't force anything. Let it feel like an opening across your chest very easily. Beautiful. One more breath. And then bring your hands back down like you're going to do a push-up right by your chest. And step back into a plank pose for a second. Walk your way back, and if you need to come on to fists because your hands really don't like this real increase here of stress into the wrist, then do fists. And from here, just stay for a breath. See if you can inhale your heels up, and on the exhale, let them come back down. So on the inhale, the heels just rise up, and on the exhale, they come back down. And then one more time. And then from here, we're going to bend our knees, shift our hips back, walk our hands down if we can, coming into down dog with our hands at the wall, where you have about a 90-degree angle at your hips. And let your elbows softly hug inward. Reach back through your sitting bones, through your tailbone too. Think about what your spine looks like right now. Should feel really good. And if you need to bend your knees, bend your knees. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly walk ourselves on back up. Turn on around again back to the wall. Let your feet walk out just a little bit. Bend your knees a bit. And then bring the back of your head to the wall. Start to send your hips a little forward. And let your legs come a little straighter if you can. So you're lifting up here. There's that release down the back. The same thing. If you want to bring your hands behind, you do. But your head is supported now. Your shoulders, if possible, your hands can just hang and you feel this release here across the chest. Belly lifting. Good. And then we're going to shift back with our hips. And we're going to come on down onto the floor and sit. So if you know sitting is better done on a blanket or a block in a blanket, by all means grab what you need. Let yourself sit, stretch your legs out in front of you for a second, and then move through your feet and your ankles. Let the feet circle around. Again, you can do the same direction, or you can do opposite directions with your feet, right? Feels different when you do them one way and then the other, right? So be mindful. Do some little wiper blades, side to side or in and out, releasing up into the hips. And then bring your feet about hips distance apart. You can use your hands to think about using your inner thigh downward motion. So you kind of lift up your hip a little bit, send the inner thigh down. Then you really get your sitting bones down into the surface you're on. Feel your heels on the floor. Let yourself just open up through the front of the body here. So remember all these back bends we just did at the wall, right? Bring your hands a little behind you. See if you can enjoy that. Feeling that openness across your chest. And now to come into a forward bend, think of coming forward from your low back. It is almost a little bit like your chest comes forward as well. And then just be where you can be. You know, if your knees need to bend, put a little bit of blanket underneath them or blocks. Let yourself think of coming forward with that long back. You can reach for your feet if you can get there, right? But there's no worry about doing that. Let yourself just take your time. If you're able to let your head hang and let the chin come down and that helps you release, do it. If it brings discomfort into your low back, don't do it. Keep the back of the head more in line with your spine if you need. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly make our way up. And we're going to bring our right leg in towards us. Bend the knee. You can hold behind your thigh, right? And then lean back just a little bit. So it's like you're leaning back enough to lift your foot up off the floor. And then start to send the foot forward, all right? Now, you can think about reaching for your foot or not. If you can reach and get hold of the outside and the inside of the ball of your foot, you can. Now, you're leaning back a little bit, so you're not rounding into your back. You're keeping that long spine. And then you can extend the leg up a little higher if you can. Bringing your gaze up a little bit really helps. If you look up maybe more to where the wall meets the ceiling or higher, oftentimes that can get you up in your heron pose. Feeling that length in the back of the leg, but also the length in the back body. Spine is extended nice and long. Good. One more breath. And then go ahead and bend the knee again. Let's bring the foot in, cross the ankle above or below the knee, and then start to come forward as you flex through the foot. You're in this figure 4. Let yourself flex through both the feet, but feel that left heel on the ground. Take your time. Let that right hip open up. Be with your breaths now, really letting yourself allow the pose to let your right hip find what it can here. Inhaling into the length of the spine. On the exhale, maybe you just imagine coming a little more forward. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly come up, and now we're going to bring this knee up and let the foot come to the outside if you can. If you need to, you can put it on the inside of that left leg. We're getting set up for a twist, sitting up nice and tall on the inhale. And then on the exhale, let your left hand or forearm come on over to that right knee and bring your right hand around behind you, lengthening up. Now, at first, see if you can just look towards the wall that's to the right of you, right? So don't try to look behind yourself yet, but really feel that right sitting bone drawing down. And you're drawing either with your hand or with the crook of your elbow, drawing that right knee in towards you, towards your left shoulder. Give it time. Give the body time to adjust. Inhaling into the length of the spine. On your next exhale, if you decide you want to try to turn to look back more behind yourself, do, but don't force it. Only if it feels really good in your upper back, in your neck. One more breath. And then use your exhale to bring you slowly back around into center. Sit up tall for a second here. We're going to twist the other way. So as you exhale, bring your left hand on around behind you. Then you can have your hand wherever you want. You can go with your arm to the inside of that right leg if you want to. Letting yourself release upward here. Good. One more inhale. And on the exhale, use your belly to bring you back around into center. We're going to stretch that right leg long. Shake out everything a bit here. And then we'll bring the left foot to the floor. And again, you're holding behind your thigh. And you're going to start to lean back a little bit. Feel that right heel on the floor. Toes and knee are facing up. And then bringing the foot on up. And again, if you want to get hold of the foot, the ball of the foot, do. If you know that's too much, you can hold on like this behind your thigh. You don't have to. And then you can come into thinking about lengthening through the leg, bringing your gaze up higher. Finding that lift through the front of the body in your heron pose. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring ourselves back down. We're going to bend the knee and come into that figure 4 with the knee right above or below, right? So you can decide, the ankle can be above or below your knee. And then take your time, easing your way forward. Feel that right heel on the floor. Draw it back towards you. Let yourself find, again, what relief you can for your own hip. We're all different. Just be where you can. You can reach down towards your foot if you want to. Still, you want to think of coming forward with as long of a back as you can. Good. One more breath. And now gently bring yourself back up to the top. And once you do, knee is going to come up. Again, you can put this foot to the inside. If it's too much to have it on the outside, below or above your knee, do it. And then bringing yourself, inhaling into that long spine. Exhaling, coming around, left hand comes behind you. Bringing yourself, again, hand can be on the knee. Depends on where the knee is. You may want to bring your arm across. But take time, again, to let your body adjust. Look to the wall there to your left. Really feel your sitting bones in the ground. Feel your belly engaging. Inhaling into the length of the spine. And one more inhale. And on the exhale, now see if you want to try to look a little more behind yourself. Coming around even more with that right rib cage towards that left inner thigh. One more breath. And now use your belly. Slowly unwind. Come back to center. Stop at center for a second. Lengthen up. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, bring your right hand behind you. You might want the left arm to come to the inside of that leg. You might even want to hold on to your foot, right, with your left hand. That's up to you. You can just bring yourself to where you can be. You don't even need to bring the arm to the inside unless it feels good. So one more breath. And then use your belly to bring you back around into center. Stretch your legs on out in front of you now and lean back a little into your hands or onto your fingertips if that's better. And let your feet circle and shake out a little bit. Good. And then drawing the chest forward here. You can decide if you want to lift up into a reverse plank here. You don't need to. You can draw your chest forward, let your bottom stay on the ground, open up here. Or if you feel like you'd feel better to come into a plank with your fingertips facing forward, you can bring your hands under your shoulders and lift up into a reverse plank. Or you can keep your hands turned the other way, too, to lift up. Really, all depends on your shoulders. Everybody's different. So come where you can. And then we'll release. Come on back. Now, if you can just turn your hands over, don't push down into them. Just turn to the tops of the hands being towards the ground. You might want to lean a little forward into a little forward bend again. But don't push. Just let that, what happens when you come a little forward, release more for your wrists. So you're not pushing hard. You're just finding a release for your wrist there. And then we'll slowly come on back up. And we're going to come down and around onto our backs on the floor from here. So take your time. Get yourself on around and bring yourself down however you choose to get there. Feet on the floor. Knees bent. And then just let your knees come easily from one side to the other. So Let it feel good. Your feet can be as wide apart as you want. It doesn't matter. Just let yourself find a little bit of release there in the low back, the top of the hips. Good. And then come on back into center and set up like you're going to do a bridge pose, but we're going to do a few little pelvic tilts. So let yourself, as you exhale, feel your tailbone, your sit bones rolling up a little bit, the low back releases into the ground. And when you inhale, that tailbone reaches back down, low back comes to natural curve again. So just moving through easy pelvic tilts here. And if you want to roll up through the spine like a rolling bridge, you can start with that pelvic tilt. You don't have to do these. If it bothers your back, don't do it. But you can just continue to think about rolling up through the spine. You've got the floor there to help you try to isolate a little bit. You can go up as high up the spine as you want. And then when you exhale, you think about really use your belly, because that's what's going to help you roll back down sequentially through the spine here. So take your time. It's like if your spine were a string of pearls, right? You're going to think about one pearl at a time, drawing up off the floor when you start to roll up through the spine. And then one pearl at a time coming back down to the floor as you roll back down. And again, if this doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. You can do a regular bridge. You can do supported bridge if you'd rather. And now, releasing back down. So whether you're up in a rolling bridge or you are up in a bridge pose, let yourself come down. We're going to bring our knees in towards our chest. And then let your knees separate. Send the soles of the feet towards each other. You can just hold on to your shins or your ankles. You can reach down to get hold of your feet if your hips allow you to do that. And let yourself release here into the hips, into the inner thighs, into the low back. Reaching the knees away from each other. If you want a little bit more, imagine you're drawing your tailbone down towards the ground. And then we're going to slowly now release to bring our knees back into the chest. Hug them in for a second. Let your low back just melt down to the ground. And then keep your right knee into your chest. Put your left foot down, and we're going to start to extend into that long left leg now. Feel the right leg gently coming into your hands. Let yourself enjoy. Now, from here, we're going to put the right foot down, extend the right leg long, and bring your arms overhead and stretch really long here on the floor. Let the back come off the floor and everything. Just really reach out through your fingertips. You might even want to clasp your hands, send your palms out away from your head so you stretch long. Good. And then we're going to bring the left knee in towards the chest. And you can hold behind the thigh or the shin. Flex through both the feet. Feel the left leg gently coming into your hands. Let yourself enjoy here. And then again, put the left foot on the floor, bring the arms overhead, and stretch. Just like you're stretching if you're getting up in the morning. Let the back come off the floor. And then we'll bring our arms down alongside us again. Bring the feet back to the floor. Bend the knees and separate your feet towards the outside edges of your mat. And then just easily from there, let the knees go from one side to the other, your own pace. So you can inhale the knees up to center, exhale them down. If you want more, if your knees go to the right, if you want to pick up your right foot and put it right above the outside, above your left knee there, you can give a little added extra, stretching out through the left side and the front of the left hip. It's not for everybody's knees, so do what you need. If going to the left feels good to put the left foot up above the outside of the right knee there, you can do that little bit of added. Take your time. So there may be any number of things your body feels like doing right now. And it might just be all you want to do is get ready for Shavasana, or it might be that you need to move around a little bit more. Who knows? Let your body take over so that you feel like you can naturally follow your instincts, really, of what you need to do in order to be more comfortable for Shavasana. And that could be anything, right? You may decide that you need, if you're here in the studio, a bolster underneath your knees. You may decide a blanket sounds like a good idea for under your head. Same thing at home. You know, trying to find a quiet place where your body can relax. I'm going to start to walk around here and bring bolsters for anybody who thinks it sounds good. So take your time, adjust whatever you need. Remember, if you lie back and you feel like your chin rises up a little bit, which kind of brings a shortness to the back of the neck and the throat, sometimes just one little fold or two little folds of a blanket can be very helpful for you to find that release in the back of your neck and your throat. Just let yourself, though, enjoy feeling whatever parts of your back body are into the ground. So being aware that you're not flat, so not every part of your body is into the ground. Let yourself just enjoy accepting your breaths. Almost feel like you're melting down into the ground on your exhales. And just give yourself these few minutes to find those little quiet places that come in. So focusing on your breath and refocusing on your breath when you realize you're off into thinking. It gets easier and easier. So just give your mind and your body time to benefit now from all you just did. Just by letting yourself completely and fully relax. gradually now, let yourself bring your awareness back, feeling the firmness of the ground underneath you, supporting you. And gradually letting your breaths come in and go out more fully and deeply again. Just take your time. Let yourself ease your way back, letting those deeper breaths allow you to want to move again. Fingers and toes when you're ready, and hands and feet. And let your extremities lead you into moving on up, into your arms, your legs when you're ready. You might even want to let your head roll a little side to side. You might want to bring your knees in. Really take your time. You're more than welcome to roll onto either your right or your left side if you're comfortable to do that. Letting yourself just have a little time to adjust. And be easy about rising up. When you feel okay to come to sitting, let yourself get comfortable in how you're sitting. Let your eyes stay closed so you can just adjust your way up into feeling that length upward through the top of your head. Think about length in the back of your throat so you're not lifting your chin up, but instead feeling that great sense of keeping your chin about parallel to the floor. Starting to release back into watching your breath now, in and out. And on your next exhale, letting your hands come gently to meet there in front of your chest. Feeling that connection through each of your fingers, your thumbs, your palms. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Monday.